Carlos, welcome to High Performance.
Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Look, I'm sure you get asked to do a lot of podcasts, a lot of shows, a lot of interviews. Why did you say yes to this one?
Yeah, you're right. Nowadays, I think podcasts are a bit the order of the day. I think it's an industry that is growing massively, but I actually enjoy it a lot. I actually listen to a lot of podcasts, and I like how it gives me the opportunity to maybe express myself a little better. I always say I almost speak too much. I sometimes elaborate a bit too much, and maybe the podcast format is the right one for me in that sense. But this one, I like talking about sports, fitness, sports psychology, motorsports. Obviously, I guess we're going to talk about a bit on F1. But yeah, if there's any of these topics, I'm up for a good conversation.
Well, why don't we start then with the sports psychology? Because you've been through the most incredible 18 months. Challenging without any doubt, pretty turbulent. I'm sure there were some difficult and dark moments. How are you doing now?
I'm in a very happy place right now. I found in Williams, I found a race team and a family that is working towards, I think, a very challenging target, which is making Williams competitive again. I think we're on the right path. I think if you look at the last 5-6 months of this team, it's been incredibly good, and I think it surprised more than a few people out there. And that gives me the happiness, but also the tranquility that I've chosen well about my future. Because last year at this stage, I was still thinking about where I was going to be next year and how my life is going to turn out to be in my after Ferrari life. And had a few options in the table. It was a difficult moment, but if you would have told me a year ago that this is how life would turn out to be, I would actually be very happy.
So do you think you're a better driver and a better person for what you've been through?
I think so. I think for sure the most challenging moments of your life, like the one I had last year, they force your personality, they force your character, and they force you to take steps in one or the other directions. What I struggle sometimes is with decision making. It takes a lot of courage to take actually a decision. And sometimes you almost wait for life to start going one way or another. So life maybe guides you towards one place or the other. But there's points that there's like a checkpoint, that you say, okay, now I need to take a decision. And this is what happened to me last year, more or less at this time. It was time to make that decision. I had to take it. I took Williams as a decision, and a year later, I'm happy I took it. And yeah, I actually feel it's made me mature because it was such a important moment of my life.
Let's talk then about how you got to the point where you had to make a decision regarding Williams. Can we rewind to the moment you found out you were leaving Ferrari?
Yes. So I think it was around end of January or February. I was in the middle of my training preparation for the 2024 season. I was hopeful that the Ferrari was going to be a competitive car. And I had done everything in December and January, obviously, to prepare myself for that season. Contract negotiations with Ferrari were a bit stalled in a weird way because we were talking since October to renew my contract. And they kept postponing the point of signing and the point of coming to an agreement. But I never felt suspicious. I always felt like they're just busy with something else. And I never felt like it was not going to happen because every feedback that I was getting was, we're going to continue for sure. This is just it's going to take only a couple hours to agree to the economics side of things and the 2 or 3 things we need to agree on your future contract. But it's going to be an easy contract and we will do it very quickly. And I was like, okay, no worries. So I just went into the winter with that mentality of it will get sorted before race 1 of the 24 season. And suddenly in the middle of January, end of January, I receive a phone call and they suddenly tell me the news. I heard from a friend that called me and I was completely shocked. And I was like, I went from believing I was going to be in Ferrari for a while, still more to suddenly, now I'm out of Ferrari, Lewis is replacing me, and now I need to, what am I going to do now? It never occurred to me that could happen. And it was a bit shocking, but it took me a good week to accept it and to assimilate it. You never get too much of a reaction from me. I'm, I think, quite level-headed in that sense. But that gave me a bit of a kick, and I think it made me a better athlete, a better driver. And what came out of me in March, April, May was probably the best version of myself as a racing driver to date.
So for people who are struggling in their own lives with other people's opinions of them, and it's derailing them, causing them problems, what did you do, or what was the mindset change that you went through, where you went from total shock that you've been released by Ferrari to, right, now I show you, here we go?
For me, if there's nothing you can do, which at that point there was nothing I could do, it was done. There's no 1% of still convincing, or there was zero chance. The contract was signed, I was out. Next thing, what is the next possible thing that I can do? Which is look at different options, my next options. Obviously, I called everyone. If you have a 5-10% chance, I would still try and fight for it. But the moment you have zero chance, you need to move on and you need to sit for your next option and try and prove yourself.
And you scored the most points you've ever scored in a Formula One season last season. 9 podiums, 2 wins.
I don't know the stats.
Those are, I think they're right.
Thank you for the stats. I just know I started the season very strong in Bahrain. I made a podium in the first race. A track where I'm never stellar, but I did a good race, a few overtakes, podium. And I went to Jeddah. And then my appendix decided it was the right time in my career to show up. And the appendix infection showed up. I had to miss that race.
And are you thinking at that point, hold on, I need all the races I can get now to show the world what I can do?
That is exactly what I thought. It's like life is hitting me hard for some reason in 2024. I for some reason they've decided this is my character building year, and I took it a bit like that. It's like someone up there has decided this is the year to give me a bit of a hard time. I need to fight back, And I remember having the appendix surgery and having to watch a race in the box with the team. I decided to walk into the paddock that day still limping, but I was like...
Why did you want to come back and show your face that same day?
Because I went to actually help Ollie. I went to a race to sit down with my engineers and help Ollie to try and help the team. And I said, you guys decided I cannot continue with this team, but I'm sure I'm going to show you my worth apart from just driving fast cars, and driving as fast as I can. And I said, what can I do? And I actually went to the paddock that day and say, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to see how my engineers communicate with Ollie, what kind of screens they're seeing, how are they saying things. And I'm actually going to be a third engineer for them to maybe learn what, if I was Ollie in the car, what kind of information I would need to get in this exact moment. And I remember sitting next to Ricardo Adami and Ricardo Corter and Callum, my 3 engineers, and telling them, if this was me, I would need you to tell me this breaking point. I would need you to tell me this about strategy, this. And I used this as an opportunity to become better. And it was actually a very interesting experience, but also to show to Ferrari, look, this is also what I do. And come to the paddock, help the team, even if I know I'm not going to be here next year.